You are listening to the In the Studio podcast. My name is Dwayne Alston. I am your host. My guest today has been doing her thing here on the Vegas music scene for some time now, and now she's writing and executive producing her first album. Please help me welcome to the podcast, Miss Steph Payne. Okay, thank you for joining me, Miss Payne. I really do appreciate it. You are my first Vegas artist since moving here. I've been trying my hardest to talk to Vegas artists because I have a lot of questions. But before we get into all that, I want to ask you the same question that I pretty much ask everybody, and that is, when did you know that this is what you wanted to do with your life?
Oh, that's a great question. I've been knowing since I was a little girl, growing up in the church and doing talent shows at school. I've always known that I wanted to sing, act, and be in entertainment some type of way. It's also in my blood, so it was pretty much a no-brainer.
I can dig it. So you've been doing your thing here on the scene for a while, and I see that you are working on a new EP. Is this your first?
This will be my first, and rather than it being an EP, it's actually an album project now. It started as an EP project, but it's now turned into an album project, and I'm just so grateful for that.
You have a name for it yet?
Yes, the title track of the album is called Expression. So the album project will be labeled Expression.
Awesome. And I know you released a single. I'm assuming the single is on the album, Already Over You?
Absolutely. I do have the single out right now. You can get the CD on my website. And it has 3 mixes. It has the original mix. It has the mix with my big brother on here. I see him. I see you, Father. I see you. With Father MC featured on, throwing some bars on there, took it to the next level. And then I also have a mix with a Brazilian producer, Map Style, which that version is being pushed over in Brazil. So you do get 3 tracks on this CD. So Already Over You is out now on all major digital platforms as well.
That is awesome. So I wanted to ask you, one thing that I've been hearing about the music scene here is that it's basically what I've termed a cover culture. And I've always wondered how independent artists can actually promote themselves in a culture like that. So you seem to have figured your way. So, like, what have you been doing?
I started as a cover singer here in Las Vegas. When I came here, I was very determined to make my way here, make my presence known here. So you have a lot of entertainers that have won Grammys, been Grammy nominated, sold millions of records, toured the world, had their own album projects and things like that. You've got some of every kind of entertainer here. And sometimes when you've done that and you're finished, doing all the touring and everything, you kind of want to just settle into it being a hobby and you doing what you love. So a lot of these entertainers that are veterans come here and they get comfortable doing cover tunes, doing some of their own tunes in the lounges and the clubs and different places like that. So you have a plethora of entertainers here in Vegas. And when I got here, I wasn't what was considered a veteran. I was trying to really get my career started coming from the gospel industry. So I started by going to open mics. I ended up playing with a couple of different bands, joining up with one band, played all over Las Vegas, played in Utah, in California, San Manuel, places like that. And then when I felt I had got enough exposure in Las Vegas, I formed my own band and did the Steph Payne experience at 172 Live Music in the Rio. Ended up being a regular there, doing a couple of concerts there before the pandemic shut down. And then during the pandemic, and I was doing cover tunes now, I did a little bit of my original music there, but as I stated, it was gospel. And I've always loved R&B music. Hey, Pilar, hey, it's my girl there. I love doing R&B music, jazz, funk music, soul music. And so during the pandemic, that actually gave me time to work
Right.
on a lot of original music while we weren't performing. So coming out of the pandemic, I have positioned myself more so as an artist than a lounge performer or a Vegas entertainer, which was my aim from the beginning.
Do you feel that this cover culture does it help artists or does it hinder them?
You know, it can help you or it can hinder you. It's all in the way you position yourself. So I could have easily got caught in the cover culture and stayed there, but I made some very strategic moves in order to separate myself and define myself as more of an artist versus a cover singer or a lounge performer. And not to knock that, it's fun. That's what some people are comfortable doing. They like to stay in that vein. But me, myself, I have music that I want to express, that I want to write, that I've
Right.
written. And I want to be known as and respected as an artist with my own music versus just singing cover tunes. And, you know, in my concerts and things, of course, I pay homage to artists that I love, and I do some cover tunes, but my main goal is to share my original music.
Right, because that's the impression that I get is that you eventually have to like separate yourself from it. But
Hmm.
what what I find myself asking, or what I want to ask you, is do you feel that you would have an audience here for your original music after you know going through that circuit? We'll call it. I mean, do you,
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's how I gained my audience here. Making myself known, I call it putting in my work, putting in my time, paying my dues, you know, doing my due diligence on the music scene here and the cover scene here. Um, you really earn a lot of people's respect that way, doing
right,
live music, live covers, and being able to keep up with that scene and entertain people with songs they've heard over and over, making them your own, um, and just being able to hold that type of title here in Las Vegas pulls a lot of weight here in this town. Maybe
hmm,
not so much in LA and other places like that, or New York, but here in Las Vegas, you are very well respected if you are a lounge performer or a cover singer here. You gain your fan base like that. And so that was my strategic move, was to gain my fan base by singing songs that everybody knew, getting around town and exposing myself to people, and then coming out with who I really am as an artist and sharing that with people once I had that audience. And that's exactly how I gained my fan base here in Vegas.
sounds like that's the blueprint. I mean, for anyone looking to do it.
Well, it was for me. It worked for me. You know, I aligned myself with people that are veterans in the industry, aligned myself and connected with people that I knew could take me where I was trying to go, that could help me produce the music, the quality of music, and the type of 90s vibe that I wanted to produce with my music. So I did that by being on my grind in town. You know, I was noticed by some of my biggest supporters singing cover tunes. You know, that's
Right.
how I was introduced to certain people that I work with, that just so happened to be in the building and seeing that I could perform live, that I had a voice, and that, hey, this girl would be great in the studio. So doing the cover tunes has been a blessing to me.
That's what's up. I mean, I'm glad you put it like that because I didn't want to believe that this town was like that because it just doesn't seem right.
Hmm.
I imagine that there are others like you who want to, like you said, share your own gifts, but I was under the impression that it was kind of hard to do here. And truth be told, I had decided in my own mind that I was going to like break that culture because you know it just like I said, it just didn't seem right. But when you put it like that, I can understand how it works. I can understand
Yeah,
how it
well,
works.
people come to Vegas. Most tourists and people come to Vegas to hear. They want to see the review shows. They want to see the Motown shows. They want to see
Right.
impersonators. They want to hear the music that they love. So this town is unique in that vein because you need to be able to do the cover songs. You can come here as an independent artist or somebody that has their original music. Now, you got somebody like people I work with as yet that have been nominated for Grammys and have sold millions of records, yeah, they can just get a residency somewhere and do their own music, no problem. But someone
Right.
like me, that's an indie artist that's coming up in the game and trying to get the notoriety, I had to be able to do those cover tunes. So Vegas is unique in that way, but it's also a beautiful thing because you get to attract the tourists that want to know that you can do the cover songs, and then that gets them interested in your original music. I know a lot of cover singers in this town that I love and respect, and you can catch them doing free shows and cover tunes a couple times a week at a lounge or a restaurant or somewhere like that. And a lot of people don't know they have beautiful original music. You know, it's just all in the way that you position yourself.
Right. Okay, so I want to get back and talk about this album. You call it Expression. I'm I'm pretty sure that means something to you. So, like, what message are you trying to put out there with your music, especially being that you write it yourself?
Well, me being a writer and also collaborating and writing with other people, um, I chose that song. That's actually a song. The title track is a song written and produced by Claude Thomas Jr. of As Yet. It's a really beautiful ballad. And that's the only song that I did with Claude. But I picked that song as the title track because that's exactly what I'm doing. I am expressing myself the way that I want to express myself, coming out of the being a minister, being a pastor, being a gospel
Hmm.
artist, and making the conversion to, I shouldn't say conversion, but crossing over into doing R&B music is backwards. Most of the time you get R&B artists that cross over to gospel, but I did
Right.
it the opposite way. I crossed over from gospel, which I still do, um, into R&B primarily. So I lost a lot of friends doing that. I lost the respect of a lot of people doing that. It was a big decision in me deciding to step down to pursue my dream and what I wanted to do. I'm doing what my dream is to do, and that's to express myself musically, who I am authentically as a person. That's what I'm doing right now, and a lot of people have opinions about it, good and bad. Some people support me, some people don't in doing it, but it really doesn't matter to me at this point what people's opinions are because God released me to express myself the way that I saw fit. So
Right.
that's what's behind the title to the album, Expression.
That's awesome. I imagine that you have performed in front of excuse me, a variety of audience sizes, but which do you prefer?
You know, large concert arenas are great. The energy is great there, but I have more experience performing in intimate venues, going all the way back to doing gospel music. I've opened up for so many gospel artists that you know. Zacardi Cortez, Leandria Johnson, Kiki Shear, William
Hmm.
Murphy, Kim Burrell. I've done concerts with all of them in large churches, small churches. And I come here to Vegas and I've performed in almost every casino here or lounge that you can name, club venues, restaurants. I've performed in some of everywhere. And I find that the smaller, intimate crowds are easier for me to connect with. I like to connect with my crowd and set a vibe and communicate with them through eye contact. I like to sing to them. I like to single them out. I like to walk out into the audience and flirt with them a little bit and just give them an experience. So I really prefer the smaller, intimate venues.
That's what's up. I find that a lot of artists, well, independent artists at least, they tend to express the same sentiment, and I could see
Mm-hmm.
why. I mean, just as a concert goer, I've never been one for large crowds, so
Mm-hmm.
as a fan, I prefer the intimate setting because I like to see, who I came to see, like not just off on the stage way over there. I'm up here in the
Right.
nosebleeds, not really getting anything, but yeah, I like to be right there. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you for that.
Sure.
It's funny. I actually we ran through my talking points so fast. I really well. Let me go back to
I'm sorry.
let me go back. And double back for the album. How many tracks are going to be on it?
There's going to be 10 tracks on this album.
All right, and I imagine that they will, I guess, put on display your full range. I read that you have, you're a four octave singer, so you know,
Uh-huh.
how do you write for something like that? I imagine that's different than just, you know, writing a song.
You
Just
know, I don't typically write, and my co-writers that I work with, we don't write in order to show my range.
uh,
That's not part of our writing process. We write based on the vibe, the feeling, the concept of the song, and then we'll get the music. Whether it's a vibe session where we the producers creating the music on the spot based on what we're writing, or we may get a track from someone that wants to contribute, and we'll go off of how that music makes us feel if we have the music already. We'll go off of the feeling of the music to get the concept. And then I write a lot with Paris Smith from Ajet, and he's like a master hook maker, right? So a lot of times he'll write a hook and we'll tweak it a little bit. Normally I'll write on the verses and we come together and just with that mush pot and fine tune it and make it something beautiful. So typically the hook will get done first, which defines the concept of the song. And then the hooks for me are normally pretty mellow. It's nothing where I'm really screaming or hollering or anything like that. It's an R&B vibe. So on the verses sometimes though I really get to showcase my skills depending on what kind of song it is. Like the song with Cloud Expression, I really get to go from bottom all the way to top on that track. But it's a very expressive, emotional ballad where that makes sense. Now
okay.
we got a party song on there where I'm pretty much monotone throughout it till I get to ad libbing at the end and I come up a little bit. But it's what makes sense for the song. We don't push to try to show my range on every song. It's not necessary. The range is going to come out because I do such a plethora of different kind of songs that is just eventually going to come out. And it's already there. The album's not even done.
That's what's up. So, we're all still dealing with COVID. Um,
Hmm.
you had mentioned earlier about, this pandemic allowing you time to sit down and write. Um, with the way, I guess, the industry has pivoted to adjust for this, do you find that that will be something that will continue on in terms of, like, well, let's take verses for example. That's the biggest, you know, example of where this pivot has been shown. I think
Hmm.
it's a great idea, but at the same time, like, I don't want it to get to a point where people stop going to venues, you know.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I know, we're not quite there yet in terms of just what the country wants, but I figure at some point it'll open up. But I don't want people to just decide, well, we're just going to stay in this lane. Like, I want people to still go because that's a part of the experience. I mean, I would imagine. I mean, we're sitting here talking about performing in venues and stuff. Like, I think it wouldn't be that great if we just never went back to it. And I mean, I got to thinking about it. I'm from the DMV, and one of the biggest spots out there to perform was Blues Alley, but
Hmm.
COVID affected them to the point where they had to close down. Now they're talking about relocating, but that spot has been there for years, like
Hmm.
probably close to 100 years. I mean, it's been a while, and to see them finally close their door, like, people are really hurt. And I don't want that to become a trend. And I guess I've noticed here, because Vegas is the type of town that it is, I don't think they would let it go per se because that's a big part of the economy. But in other spots, that's where I see the potential for it to just dwindle and die. And I don't want that to happen. I guess after saying all that, like, how do you feel about it?
I don't think that's going to happen. And I'll say that because Vegas is the entertainment capital.
Right.
And then you got places like LA. Um, then you got Nashville. You got places that really define how the rest of the country does music. You got New York. And basically the rest of the country is going to follow suit the best that they can in their own cultural way. With Vegas, we're at 50% capacity right now, and it's supposed to go up to 100, I think, in May.
Hmm.
I just had a concert, a sold out concert at Vegas Valley Winery here this past Saturday. And that told me a lot. Number one, it told me, and these are people that don't just live in Vegas. These are people that came from other states to
Okay.
see the show. Okay. And that tells me that people are hungry and thirsty for entertainment, to go and see
Right.
live entertainment. We've been stuck up in the house so long and confined and being told what we need to do and can't do and all that stuff. If you know human beings, we don't like to be told what to do for the most part.
Right.
People are tired of being told what to do at this point and being cooped up. So the first thing they're going to do when they get a chance, that's the first thing they're going to do because we've been told we can't do it.
Right.
Okay. And people love music so much. All we've been able to do is listen to it on the radio and watch it on Vivo or people streaming online. We want that. We want to be in the same room with one
Exactly.
another. We want the whole experience. That's something. Music is a universal language, and to get it live, that's something you cannot take away from people. You cannot take that desire out of people, no matter how hard that you try. And so this concert told me a few things. Number one, with it being sold out, it was sold out 3 weeks early.
Okay.
People were paying $150 for ticket packages. They were paying $45 for VIP tickets. We sold maybe 4 general admission tickets at $25 because everybody wanted the VIP. They wanted the full experience.
Right.
Okay, they didn't want to be GA. I want my wine. I want my meet and greet. I want my merchandise. I want all of that experience because I haven't been able to get it. And I don't know about you, when I go out to concerts, I want to be VIP. I want to meet the artists. I want to take my pictures. I want all of that. And so it told me, number one, people are hungry and thirsty for live music.
Right.
Okay. It told me, number two, regardless of us being in the pandemic, they're willing to pay for it. Okay. They are willing to pay for the live experience. Look, we done got our stimmy checks. All right. We
Well,
done
I
got the
haven't.
stimmy. We're doing what we got to do. We're recouping. We're coming back from it. Things are slowly opening up. And it told me that live music isn't going anywhere and people are willing to pay for it because they're hungry for it. So I'm not worried at all about us going to a place of not having live music. Now, one thing I will say, I do see venues using tracks versus live bands. Now, I do see a lot of that going on in Vegas, or they're using a DJ. DJ's better than just tracks, but you
Right.
either have a DJ or you've got a track and maybe a acoustic guitar or something like that. So I do see that maybe the whole live band experience may need to make a comeback. But I will tell you what, I had a 7-piece band for this event, and we couldn't fit anybody else in there. They were in the inbox, no more tickets, no more tickets. We want some. Dang, I missed it. Da 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 da. It's gonna be in demand, so I'll just leave it right there.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you could see that because that would be such a shame. It really
Hmm.
would.
I'm
Um,
not worried about it. I really am not.
that's good. I mean, I'm not an artist, so I can only look at it from my point of view, and it's just like you said. Like I'm one of those ones. I'm tired of sitting in here. Like even being here. Like I've been here since July, and I haven't really done much, and I know COVID is a big part of that. But I'm raring to go. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like I didn't even realize that there were performances happening. Like had I known you were doing something, yeah, I would have came just because I'm tired of sitting in the house. I'm right now. I'm just looking. I'm looking around trying to find all like the great venues to go to. I really don't
Hmm.
know much, but I feel your sentiment. That's what I'm ultimately trying to say. I feel your
Well,
sentiment.
thank you, thank you. And my concert was the first of its kind coming out of the pandemic here in Vegas. We were the first ones, AE Group and myself, to do the concert wine experience, to do the live band experience where we were charging for tickets and believing that it was going to work. Um, and it did. So we had to step out on faith for that and put the work in. So I think that us accomplishing that in such a major way with the success that we had with it is encouraging to everybody else that, hey, we can get back to what we used to do.
True. Well, I've run out of questions, but I want to give you an opportunity to let everybody know, especially the ones that don't know who you are. It seems like that's impossible. Being in Vegas, from what you're telling me, it seems like that's impossible. But if there is a person under a rock somewhere, where can they go to find out about you?
Well, I'm here. I'm based in Vegas, and you can catch me on social media, Instagram and Facebook at S Payne Music. That's SPAYNE Music, spelled the regular way. My stage name is Steph Payne, STEPHPAYNE. So you can catch me on Instagram, Facebook, and you can also check out my website, www.stephpaynesongstress.com, and you can keep up with my performances there. You can purchase my music there. You can read about where I come from there. I do have a pretty interesting backstory. If you care to take the time to read it, it is on my website. Yeah, and you can find me, just keep up with my performances. I have people that I support out here, so I do make appearances and pop up every now and then. But hit me in my DM, make a comment, say hello to your girl. Um, yeah, you can catch me on the flip side, y'all.
Speaking of performances, do you have anything on the horizon?
After this last performance, which I co-executive produced, there's a big difference between being hired as an artist and actually producing your concert. I just needed a rest.
Yeah, I can
So
dig it.
there is something coming up. I can't really speak about it right now, but that is definitely not the last that you're going to see of Steph Payne. I do have some things in the works for you guys, and as soon as I possibly can, I will update you on that. You can look for my music video that's going to be coming out later on this month for Already Over You. I do have a music video coming out for that. You can check me out in As Yet's latest video. If you're not familiar with As Yet, they are Grammy nominated platinum selling R&B group. And they have a song out called Kleptomaniac. And my bros gave me the opportunity to use my acting chops. And I got to star in that video and play like four different women at once. So you can check me out on
Wow.
the Kleptomaniac video. You can find it on YouTube. And again, just look for my music video coming out, and just some more awesome music right now.
It's a very nice song, by the way. I
Thank you.
I went ahead and supported. I downloaded it, and
I saw that.
yeah, as soon as I heard it, I was like, yes, this interview has to happen because I need to know. Because like I was saying, I feel like I'm showing a little bit of naivete, I guess, but I really didn't know. I'm not from here. When I
Hmm.
moved here was the first time I had ever been. Like the first 4 months, besides trying to avoid the heat, I was basically just going through the whole tourist thing. It took me a while to get past all that. And so,
Hmm.
I all I knew was what I had been told, in terms of, the music scene here.
Hmm.
And, my initial, I guess, impression was that it left something to be lacking. But you've educated me. You've educated me. So now I feel like I have to get out there and see it all. So I'm really hoping that we get that opportunity.
Absolutely. Get out there and see it, because I think it's the pandemic that kind of got you in that mind frame. There are some of the baddest, most amazing vocalists and entertainers in this town, and a lot of them are doing free shows that you can go check out at the local establishments. I'm a fan of a lot of these people. Um, and I'm not going to go into naming names, because when you do that, somebody always feels left out. But if you want to holler at me on the side, I'll give you some suggestions of who you can go see. There are some brilliant artists and entertainers out here that you can go check out every week, more than once a week. So I'll hook you up with that info.
I need that. I need that.
You got it.
Especially, I'm looking to. I was doing a performance series in the DMV. Life kind of got in the way, so I never really got it off the ground like I wanted. But I feel like here's a perfect opportunity to bring it back, and so I'm looking for like a really good venue, to partner with. You got any suggestions?
You know, I can give you those suggestions on the side too. I don't want to offend anybody, but Vegas has no lack of venues. That's for sure. Large and small, moms and pops to corporate to ballrooms to, there are so many places to do events here. There's no shortage. So I'll give you some of that information as well.
Awesome. And on that note, I'll go ahead and let you go. Thank you. Thank you very much for taking the time out.
Thank you.
I really do appreciate it. And I'm definitely going to be hitting you up about that information because I need that. And, and I'm just going to put this out here. Maybe you could be my first artist. I would really like that. But, we could talk about that when I actually have something to present.
Okay, absolutely. We can definitely talk about it. And I would love to help you kick something like that off. We can talk about the business of it and get it going. But thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.
No problem. Thank you.
My
And
pleasure.